years. I've compiled scientific studies, lectures, author journals, author biographies, and different theorems from across about 50 to 60 years, and I've compiled all of them into my book. I've actually published it last month. It's called Unveiling the Cosmic Symphony. With the book, I plan on getting it published in scientific journals, scientific research, biologies, and different scientific catalogs. I want to put the extract of my book and everything I've written into maybe college studies as well. I've actually been contacting Caltech, Stanford, Harvard professors about this. In general, I want to be a physicist, so I've been working on God equations and superstring theory to create a unified framework. I've been researching unified frameworks. So in the future, I'd love to develop and work on unified frameworks.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are at the day 3 of India Startup Festival 2023, and I have a very special guest with me today, who's Abhirami Sukumaran, who's the developer advocate at Google and also a mentor with startups. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Major. I'm a developer advocate at Google, and additionally, I also mentor startups as part of Google Startup Accelerator program. From a technology perspective, I do that as part of my role as well. So that's a little bit about me.
So you are today here at the round table. Just share a little bit about your experience. What was the key takeaway for you from the startup? All those people who stalwarts who come from in different capacities who were at the round table.
I should say I was overwhelmed with the amount of experience, and majority of them were serial entrepreneurs. Some of their ventures are startups and some of their ventures are already very well established businesses. So it was really a lot of stuff to learn from their experience, predominantly in the areas of what kind of customer experience is required and how to scale for startups, and also like skill and how do they scale their skill set, their resources, how they maintain it. So all those things were very interesting for me from different industries and backgrounds as well. There was obviously very hyper local industry like agriculture specific to India, and there were industries ranging from beauty, cosmetics, and security and all such areas. So that was very interesting for me. And one other thing which was fascinating was how every industry today is able to use technology and AI to grow from where they are to take that leap with their businesses. So that was exciting.
Very true. So we've been hearing this through the event, through the festival. As a mentor yourself, you mentor startups. What has been your experience in the since you started? What kind of progress have you seen among startups when it comes to use of technology and especially AI?
That's been a very interesting experience for me, working or interacting with startups, because they are starting from, there are different range of startups. Some already know what exactly they want. Some envision a future with certain specific technology. And there are some who don't know what they want. So I learn from people who already know and already are right there. And they just come in for, hey, I have a few questions. Will this work with this? How do I integrate this? Mostly all from technology perspective is what I mentor them on. So particularly Google Cloud specific topics. And I predominantly focus on databases and that area, AI, ML. So around data and databases and use of machine learning, use of technology for doing data analytics and all. So I take that experience from people who are already established and startups who know what they're doing and how it adds value, and also engage them or encourage them to fix certain things that they are having gaps with, and also showing them opportunities to integrate their existing solutions. That way they eliminate the waste and use only focus on the things that they really need to grow their business. And I use that experience and I use that knowledge with people who are still discovering what they want, and also with the startups who are white paper. They know they have the business idea, but from a technology perspective, they get fascinated by the things that technology provides. For example, Google Cloud in the different services that we have, they get excited about, oh, I can do this with BigQuery, I can do this with the Vision API. Oh, I want to read video. I want to be able to extract details or insights or metrics from my video images. So that kind of excites them. So different kind of audience. So yeah, that has been the experience for me so far.
So in that capacity, I'm sure startups have benefited from your understanding, your knowledge and experience of technology. Has it been for you also learning from the startup and taking it into your profession?
Definitely, because the kind of challenges, technological and platform challenges that startups face can easily, if you think startup in a way is, if you're running a project in a big organization, for example, if it's your brainchild, if it's your idea, you're pitching your idea to your leadership and they accept it and they say, go run it. Here is your team. It is very similar to running a startup, except that there you'll have the approval and you're guided and you're funded or sponsored, I should say, by your leadership. And in startups, you're doing it, but with external folks to begin with, right? So it's very much there is so much to learn. And definitely, how they are looking at things and how they scale things, or what are the opportunities that lie ahead of them, is something that I always learn from. Yeah. It has been a thorough learning experience for me.
So, India Startup Festival, how has that been for you? I know you come today for the event.
Yeah.
So far, whatever you've seen, experienced, can you share your thoughts about it?
Definitely. So I just came in here for the third day of the event, and I'm, like I said before, it was overwhelming for me to see the place itself is gigantic. It's happening here in the outskirts of Bangalore, so it's a huge space, and there are so many booths with startups and other sponsors who are pitching, who are talking about that to people who are walking around. And for me, it's one, overwhelming, and two, a lot of networking experience, a lot of connections with people, both from a technology perspective and also it's really fun. There were a few colleges who have this incubation center, or they have this innovation wing. This college from Chandigarh, I forget the name of the college, but it's really interesting that they have the final year of the college dedicated for doing startups or building ideas. So I found that very intriguing, because that should be the way. That's the way forward for India. That's like building for India, grooming them then and there and allowing them the opportunity. I think most universities should start doing that if that is that way. Correct.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And the ideas that they have, it's amazing. I don't want to talk about their ideas for them, but definitely very fun ideas, like customized. I mean, I don't want to talk about the ideas, but it's really fun. I enjoyed every single moment of it.
And finally, any advice you have from a technology standpoint for the startups? About what should they see in coming time, or what should they start doing now to be there with the technology?
This is one thing that I always emphasize. So there is a thin line between ideation or execution is always a contemplation for startups or anyone who has an idea. People always, I can only speak from the technology perspective because I am not an entrepreneur myself. I work, but then, ideation is where people keep grinding their ideas and talking to people about it, which is good. But at some point, you've got to start executing, and you have to start somewhere from a technology perspective, at least. And yes, don't jump straight into building your product, straight into writing the code for the product if it involves technology, your business. Always, it is important to have a balance between ideation and do the design considerations, design discussions, see what kind of data you're using, how else can I pivot it? Like, what is the future? 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, a quarter, half a year, or a year, or 3 years. Just have a plan for all the things that you could do with the data that you have right now. And you might be even creating data out of your business, which might be looking like it's waste of storage, but think about the ways that you can repurpose that into your own business or pivot into something that could be useful. And also do all the design considerations for applications or database or whichever data that you're building and storing. And make sure you think about the security perspective, privacy, regulatory requirements and everything. Think about all the design considerations and then rinse and repeat and build your product. And not build, before finalize your architecture. And one important thing is, I would say, after you rinse and repeat and do this brainstorming within your team, whether it's a one-person team or a big team that you have, make sure you identify the things that you don't need, because majority of the time, startups or any project gets stuck or gets fascinated by all the things that you can use. But make sure that you are using the things that you need, not really just because it's there. Yeah. So that will save a lot of effort, resources and cost as well. So yeah, that's one thing I would.
So would you say at what stage technology should start becoming part of a startup? At what stage? Because very early stage startups probably don't have the kind of funding required, and there also, are there anything that they can tap into as a free resource where they can use the technology? And more importantly, at what stage? At a very early stage, after reach a certain level of traction, what would you suggest as a technology person? How would you suggest? What would you suggest?
So you would know right off the start whether your business is going to involve technology or not. If it is not a tech product or a tech startup, let's say if it's in some other field, but still if there is room for technology, think about it alongside your idea. It has to come from the beginning. You can't just plug it.
That into your...
Yeah. Even if you don't have funding for it right now, think about what all you can do to prototype it with free resources, or like the Google for Startups accelerator programs. If you have an idea and you have a vision for it, just try out those things. That will allow you to see what are the resources out there that are. Just go and check the websites of these programs and just see what resources you can tap into to equip yourself with prototypes, to equip yourselves with applications. And not that you have to build all those things day zero, but at least think about it from the beginning. From beginning is what I would say.
So mystartuptv is a media house for startups, and we provide 360-degree coverage, an exclusive media house. What do you think about the work we're doing?
I really love the concept. With media and news and information being digitized, I think that's the way to go. Definitely. I mean, I'm really excited about that. It's nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Stay informed about the startup ecosystem. Subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are at the India Startup Festival 2023, day 2, and I have two lovely guests with me from the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Martha and also Altaf. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with you. Tell us about London Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you very much. We are so happy to be here. It's such a tremendous opportunity, really, to be part of the Startup Festival. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to come to India. So, at the London Chamber of Commerce, we are there to connect, to support businesses. Business representing London, the global London as a gateway to the UK, and working with our members, and also working with members who are not just in London, but actually overseas, and hence the importance of this festival. With us here is Altaf. He represents one of our member companies. We are here at the festival with 12 other members, and we're here really to connect businesses.
So, Altaf, as a member company, could you throw some light on how it benefited you, for the benefit of others out there, to get a step into the UK market?
Absolutely. No, thank you very much, Major Sunil Shetty. I think it's a privilege to represent the voice of the customer, because when you're new in London, especially businesses like ours, we've only moved into London a couple of years ago. There's so much of the London infrastructure that is available to those who know where it is available, that you could end up, spending years and not knowing what's available next to you. And it's a melting pot that offers every connection, every meaningful conversation, all in one place, while not just giving you the ability to find like-minded people, investors, talents, all in one place, but also puts together a curated set of events throughout the year. We get the privilege of experiencing 200 plus events online, in person, where you don't need to know the who's who, because they all know London Chamber of Commerce and want to deal with them. We have the privilege of being spoiled by the Chamber of Commerce, and it accelerates your business, it accelerates your reach, it takes your outreach and multiplies it, where others are trying to add. Our relationship in the past with other accelerators has been an addition. If anything, with London Chamber of Commerce, it's more of a multiplication equation.
Well, that's a lot to say about the work you're doing, right? So, is there any particular specific areas that you're looking at to engage with, or it's a wide open space where any sector, any industry could associate with?
Sure, of course. So, as a chamber, we serve all customers or all types of businesses, SMEs, startups, but also big companies. And here specifically, the Startup Festival obviously is so important because we know that SMEs and startups are really the lifeblood of an economy, or of any economy, really, and especially in India, but in the UK as well. So there is this very close connection in terms of just putting businesses together and giving those businesses a voice, access to the right type of support, the services that they need.
So, Altaf, could you start with, share that one moment where you thought, wow, this couldn't have happened if Chamber did not, back me up as support?
Absolutely. So, I've been now in this world of consulting without consultants for nearly a decade. We moved into the UK and we got instant recognition, instant love and admiration from the world of business. And we suddenly saw a transient economy of startups that were no longer, at the struggle state of startup. They were all successful, established businesses where they're available and accessible in the busy life of what London has to offer, but unknown to us. And they all tend to use the London Chamber of Commerce as a watering hole. And in the 2 years that we've been in the UK, I've acquired 12 businesses, of which 7 have happened after having joined London Chamber of Commerce over a period of just 2 months, as opposed to the remaining taking nearly 18 months to take place. So for us, just the number of interested people that are looking to find the right kind of connections available all in one place is just phenomenal. And it's not happened once, it happens every single time I go there. So if anything, I'm a fan, and it's a privilege to be traveling with the celebrities that I'm a fan of. And it is such a diverse set of services that are available. It's not just businesses like us that have traveled from London. There are businesses from outside that are part of this, that are benefiting from this. It's an infrastructure and an ecosystem in its own that's available, where today there are other things we're working on. We're not just working on the startup infrastructure. London is known for the scale-up hub of the world. It has that scale-up infrastructure as well. And that is something that you cannot tap into unless you know the game makers and the game changers, which is what the lovely team of London Chamber of Commerce is.
Well, that's the second thumbs up Altaf has given to the Chamber.
Thank you.
So, for the benefit of the people out there, viewers out there, could you just quickly take us through the point form as what is the process to be part of the chambers?
Yeah, so it's very easy. In fact, we actually even have a special offer for those businesses that are not based in London, that are based overseas, don't have an address in the UK, but want to just visit London as a business and understand London better, the London ecosystem. So it's as easy as just literally scanning the QR code, and just signing up, and it's a very good value as well. and that's available to anybody really. And through this, they gain a variety of services. We will work with them to look at, what is it that they need, the specific industry that they are after. There is, when they come to London, there is a very lovely office, a meeting space that they can use where they can invite their clients, our potential clients, just to sit down and have a coffee, like similar as here really, and just engage. So all these services are there and many more.
So for Indian startups and the UK-based startups, especially London-based startup, is there a service where you kind of help them in matchmaking?
Yes, absolutely. Again, this is our role. We are the connector. So we do try to matchmake either through just simply the events, which are always very busy. It's great. It's a great buzz, a great connecting opportunity, either through events where businesses just simply, talk to each other and they start doing business, or where there a little bit more help is needed. We will do the research. We will have a look at our membership database and see, okay, well, you're interested in this particular segment. Here are members who are doing the same thing. Who are looking for example, for an investor, or who are looking, to connect with another startup because they might be an investor themselves. And this is how we connect them.
So could you throw some light on the?
I'd love to show you how that happens as well. So we have a LinkedIn of our own by LCCI that we tend to use. We have connections where we can make, direct connections with investors. We can connect with other members as well. There are various platforms, various organizations that come together. There are connectors, events that take place. All of that is a closed door LinkedIn sort of environment that's available to users, and we're able to benefit from this. So Martha is a little too modest, I think. She's not really, but the fact is, there is every infrastructure support that you can imagine. Not just the set of offices that you can use at the Chamber of Commerce. They've got a string of hotels across London that we use for free to use for meeting rooms. And I have not paid a single pound since I've joined the London Chamber of Commerce for a single coffee in London City, because there's always a venue somewhere, a 5-star hotel or an office with a nice office that is kept available for us so that we can use the facility. All thanks to...
So that's the third thumbs up.
I should actually just give the platform to Alto, but he's the best testimonial.
From a user standpoint, or the people who are aspiring to connect with the chambers, coming from somebody who's using the service, kind of makes more sense. So. I just lost out on my thought.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No. We'll edit it anyway.
Sure.
So, going forward, you talked about the sectors that of interest. Could you throw some light on what are those sectors, probably your first 5 ones, which are, or top 3 ones, which you're interested in?
Sure. Well, there are several, really, because, London being such a metropolitan city, such a global city, we do cover so many different sectors. But just to mention a few, obviously, finance, professional services, this is one big sector. There is fintech, for example. London is very much a capital of fintech. But, life sciences as well. We have a very vibrant property group as well. But I should also mention our business groups, which are cross-industry. So, for example, we've got the Asian Business Association within the London Chamber. And this is where many companies, interested in India, also meet. And this is where not just the connections happen, but also the learning happens, because that's where the exchange of knowledge, can take place.
There might be companies or startups that may not need not really move to London. They might be still based out of India and work. So in that case, what kind of service they can use?
Yes, so this is our overseas visitors membership. This is the package that I mentioned to you. Again, this is specifically for companies that are not based in the UK, that are based outside, but they are looking to do business in London. So it means that they might not be coming to London. That's fine. We will support them. But if they are coming to London and they want to have meetings in London, they can use that membership with all the services that it offers.
Finally, I know you have to go for a meeting, so another session. Investor Connect. especially for people based on UK to connect them to Indian startups. Is that service that you do? If yes, if you can share instead of something.
Yes, absolutely. Again, this is very much also through membership itself, because many of our members are investors. And we've been talking to Altaf. He started off with one company coming to London, and he's invested in a number of other startups. So this happens organically amongst the others, but also we do have very good connections with the City of London, being based in the City of London. So the whole network of big banks, legal firms, and so on, consultants.
Let me ask Altaf now. What's your takeaway from the India Startup Festival? What did you feel about it?
I have been exposed to the Indian Startup Festival from last year because I've invested in the winner from last year, which is Emilio. And at that point, we had only heard of the big debacle that had taken place last year. There was a big Indian Startup Festival that went bust. Lots of people lost lots of money, and we were very skeptical about where this goes. But we saw it happen the first year. We found a gemstone of a business that we invested in. And this year, when we got the opportunity, when the founder of ISF came over to London, we got the opportunity to host him and have conversations with him. It was, very surreal to see, because I'm Indian by origin, and I love my country. To get to experience an opportunity where I get to represent London back home was phenomenal. And just to see the size and the girth and the impact of this show is just great. Frankly speaking, Major Sahab, I've actually come here shopping, looking for my next set of investments. Have I found them? I can't tell you.
Definitely, I understand that.
But thank you very much. I've been following your work. I've seen your crew going around. I've done, a bit brief of what is it that you're doing. I think founders of startups don't have a voice because of the Shark Tanks of the world that give all of the voice and power to the voice of the investor. Thank you for giving a voice and power back into the hand of the founders. They need help, and I think you're doing a great service.
Thank you very much. So, Martha, what about you? About the event?
Well, I'm really absolutely amazed at the enthusiasm that is here, the potential, the opportunities, and really the sheer outgoing of those companies, really wanting to connect and move ahead. It's just a real entrepreneurial spirit, and I think this is what this event stands for, and that's why everybody really should come here.
Finally, My Startup TV as a media house, we're dedicated to startups.
Right.
All the four verticals, be it the OTT, be it the podcast or magazine. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, obviously you have great followers, so I would very much recommend anybody who wants to learn more about startups and the whole startup ecosystem, they should definitely tune in.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
About the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are the India Startup Festival 2023. We are on day 2 today. It's about to start. And I have a special guest with me, Flight Lieutenant BP Kumar, who was a former fighter pilot. And today he's founder of Axel Aero. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Major.
So, I know in one way, first I would start with, the journey from being a soldier to an entrepreneur. We also have a program called Soldierpreneur.
Yeah.
So, just give us a quick, brief about how was the journey.
So the journey was very exciting. After leaving the Air Force early, I got my commercial license. But after flying fighters, commercial flying wasn't very interesting. So I went ahead and did an MBA in aviation. I did entrepreneurship in West Africa. I made some money, used it for my MBA. After that, I worked in Qatar Airways as a data scientist for a very long time. And I moved back to India in about 2017. I was working in the IT industry as a data scientist. And during COVID, a course mate of mine who is a fellow fighter pilot and also a very accomplished civil pilot, Captain Krishnan, he gave this idea about usage of simulators in the military, which excited us, and we started conceptualizing the idea of next gen simulator, how it should be and what it should do, and we started building the product. And ISF is one of the organizations that we won last year, and which gave us the opening to, which introduced us to how to develop this as a business. So that's pretty much my journey: India, Africa, Canada, back here.
Like a pilot, you travel quite a bit, isn't it? We also heard a lot of stories about you from Jay Chaudhary sir, how the whole thing came about in his interview. The whole I mean, you are the first one, you are the only one doing it in India, right?
Correct.
Talk about, Accelero itself, as to what you're doing. You talked about flight simulators. Just give us the, paint a picture of what will it do for the industry, defense industry, especially for the fighter pilots training. Correct.
So Accelero is founded by 2 pilots and 2 engineers. Me and my course mate, Captain Krishnan. He's ex-DGCA. He's a designated examiner on A320. Between both of us, we have about 11,000 hours of total flying, plus 4,000 hours of simulator flying. And 2 outstanding engineers. Between us, we have 10, 11 patents filed, 5 granted, and millions of lines of code. Why this founding team is a bit important is, what we set out to do is, in aviation, when a pilot transitions from one airplane to another, he does his entire training on a level D simulator, and the first flight he does on the new airplane is with full passengers. That's the importance of a flight simulator in the aviation industry. Now, this technology is built in 1970s, and there are only 3 companies in the world which occupy 80% of the simulator manufacturing market. India imports all its high-end simulators. So when me and Krish were talking, Krish said, yeah, in civil we use the simulators and they're also realistic and this is what they can do. But unfortunately, military doesn't have simulators of this nature. The military simulator requires to move much more than the civil simulator. These steward platform-based civil simulators, they move only 20-30 degrees in all rotational axis. So we conceptualized the idea that we need to rotate it full 360 to train fighter pilots and have better visualization than the small window of visualization in a civil simulator. So virtual reality was the natural choice, and we are going ahead beyond that now. So we built our prototype ourselves, we did the design ourselves, we purchased things, we bootstrapped completely, and we are happy to say that we now have a working prototype which was test flown by Air Force pilots and doctors, and we were shortlisted for IDEX Open Challenge last week, and we had our presentation to the High Power Steering Committee, and we are awaiting the results. So that has been the nature. What it does is, the current simulators, the level D simulators of civil, they cost anywhere between $12 to $20 million. An hour on them costs $600 to $2,000. For helicopters, India has only one level D simulator. It costs 1.5 lakh an hour. So our technology can bring down the cost of training on high-end simulators below $100. It can provide realistic feedback. Most importantly, there is a particular aspect called spatial disorientation, which is the biggest reason for fatal air crashes and hull losses in the aviation industry, 12 to 30%. To train pilots for spatial disorientation, you need to move full 360.
The simulator has to do exactly what the aircraft does.
Otherwise, pilots who just sit with plus minus 20 degrees, and when they get disoriented and there is an upset attitude of the airplane, they fail to recover. There have been a lot of crashes. Air France 447, Fly Dubai in Rostov. Very often we see, in military we see it much more because of the nature of flying. So our simulator is ideal for it. And by perfecting this technology, we think we'll make India a net exporter of simulators from the 100% importer that India today is. So it's really passion and patriotism. We built it, and if it ends up in a profitable business, nothing like it.
Many congratulations to what you have achieved. It takes, I will not use the loaded word like passion and all, because that's all seen here, but the fact that the risk-taking ability to, leave something and get into something that you really believed in. When do you think, what's the road forward? When do you think this would become a commercial product, which will be used by the armed forces, especially the Air Force?
Yeah, the question same my potential investors are asking. So it's a long journey because this product didn't exist before.
Yes.
It's easy to sell something that existed which has a precedent. So when we are going to the market, I'm very happy that the pilots and the doctors of the Air Force, they They flew it and they said, yes, this is very useful, this could do this things, and more than what we imagined actually. For example, they mentioned that, hey, we could use this to screen candidates before they become pilots rather than after they become pilots, and we didn't think
that
about
saves a lot of cost, isn't
exactly,
it?
and also saves time of that youngster.
Yes.
A
life of the youngster.
Also, lives also, that's true.
So three things: life, time, and money.
Money, everything.
All three,
And so the process with the government takes time. Luckily, the current government has programs like Make in India, Atmanirbhar and IDEX, which are actually fast-tracking it and makes startups like us qualify for defense contracts or purchases which otherwise we wouldn't have qualified.
Which were unthinkable few
years ago. So there won't be any business at all. There is interest from DRDO. They visited us, and again I have to thank ISF. I'll mention it on the stage. JSR personally arranged meetings. He took me meetings with scientific advisor to the Raksha Mantri and DRDO directors. They visited our workshop. They saw the simulator, and we are working towards planning with them. At this point, it's really I think it will take about a year for the full commercial product to start, and in about 18 months or so we should have the first product installed somewhere in the country.
And the very fact that, as you said, it's only 20-30 degrees experience versus even if your prototype 1, when it comes out, version 1, think of iPhone 1 to what we are today, right? 15th version. Even with all the money and the research, a big company like a $1 trillion company like iPhone can take 15 versions to come up with a best product.
Correct.
It would take time. However, the fact that today pilots don't have anything to having something which is better than what is existing is a big jump.
Is a big jump, yes.
Right?
We believe it will be a big jump, and made in India, our product is made almost 90%, 95% in India. We sourced everything in India. Has some advantages. Today, when one of these imported simulators, a component goes down, the services have to run helter-skelter, create a import invoice. It takes many months, and the equipment is down. And any modification becomes very expensive. And today we want to make Indian missiles, Indian weapons to the Indian airplanes, and we want Indian terrain, Indian runways. And these foreign vendors will charge a lot to do it because they don't have a business case.
Yes.
Whereas we, made in India, can quickly turn it around at a much cheaper cost, and we start with Indian terrains and Indian airplanes. So it's a big boost. And tomorrow, even experimental projects like LCA Mark II, if DRDO says, hey, we want to test, we should have a side stick or a central stick or this, or how would be this missile, what would be the RCS, etc. There are a lot of things which we can do pretty much as part of our job and say, hey, this is how this will work. It's our domain. We've been there. We flew those machines, and we've got fantastic engineers supporting us. So I think it's great for the country, great for the industry, and hope it will be good for us.
I would like to get your, comments on India Startup Festival. How has that helped you? I know they are the ones, but for the benefit of the founders or other founders out there.
See, India Startup Festival last year, I just came without knowing what it is. I didn't know JSR, Dina, nobody. I just came as a neutral entity. I submitted my deck, got shortlisted, came and pitched, and we won 5th last year. And I didn't even know that there was a result to be announced. I just did a pitch and I left home. I went to Hyderabad. When I landed, I got a call, sir, where are you? We have to give you a present award. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not there. Somebody else collected it. So after that was the interesting part. Normally I thought this is over. You got an award, keep it on your wall, it is done. But then Dina called me, and JSR and Dina personally visited the workshop. They saw the simulator, that what we presented was actually real, and said, what kind of help do you need? So I said, sir, the business is with the armed forces or the DRDO or the defense PSUs. I'm trying to get some meetings so that I can present this idea to them. Actually, we have not done any business development till then. We were just busy building the prototype. JSR actually took me personally to Dr. Satish Reddy on a table and introduced me, and I got time to pitch my idea to Dr. Satish Reddy, who was kind enough to call the DRDO program director, ADA program director, and say, have a look at this looks very interesting and useful. So this was pro bono. I mean, I did not expect this at all, and I'm here this time not just to participate in a pitching session, but to actually publicly thank ISF team and JSR. And for other entrepreneurs, what I would suggest is that first of all, it's a steep climb. 10,000 startups, 200 or 100 get shortlisted. That's a 1% chance of making it to the pitching contest. And it's not about the contest or about the awards. It's really There are Saturday mentoring sessions organized immediately after the IS event for almost every Saturday. Request to be there. There is groups available, and there are various mentors, small investors, big investors, industry experts. Seek help. Seek help, like we sought. We sought help in making connections into an organization which, even despite being a former Air Force officer, I won't get. You know how hard it is to get very high level connections or even opportunity to talk to. Right, so that I would say JSR is well connected. ISF team is now with so many people coming here. Hopefully next year international, the reach would be much higher.
Finally, mystartuptv is a channel for startups and entrepreneurs like you. We showcase, the work. What are your thoughts about our channel, the kind of work we are doing?
Again, another I must say surprising thing I never thought. I do represent sometimes in media. I come there discussing aviation related things, accidents, and the F-16 versus MiG-21 things. But a TV channel for startups alone shows how important this is, how much how the startup thing is growing in our country. And you also being a soldier like me, kudos to you for this idea and the persistent execution of it, right? And I really wish you all the best. I would like you to grow as much as I would like myself to grow.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. Today we are at the India Startup Festival 2023, day 2, and I have a very interesting guest who's a doctor by profession, an innovator, and an entrepreneur, all blended into one. Dr. Vishal Rao, who's also worked on a device. Let's start with that. Let's hear from him. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sunil.
So your startup is Innovation Medical Devices.
Yes,
am I right?
Yes.
And you're talking about voice boxes.
Yes.
Can you start about talking about the device itself to start with?
So this was an accidental innovation that I think hit me as a destiny about 9 years back when I started on this journey of innovations. And it fundamentally started with being a surgical oncologist. I do a lot of cancers, and throat cancer is the area of my specialty. Whenever we do throat cancer surgeries, these patients lose their voice box, and after that they cannot speak. Now there are only 2 devices available in this world. One is from Europe and the other is from US, both patented and costing 45,000 to up to 1.5 lakhs only for the device, which needs to be changed every 6 months. And thereafter, the procedure charges and other things added up.
And also for the patient, the hassle of getting it changed every 6 months.
Every 6 months. So many of the patients, thousands in India, would go speechless because they couldn't afford this device. So that's when I actually came up with this thing, because one of my patients who was a security guard, after the surgery, because he was a chronic smoker, lost his voice box and then lost his job. When he came to me and said that because of this now I've lost my job, how do I help? I went back to him and I was thinking, and that was a serendipitous day when my partner Shashank Mahesh, who's the silicon guru, comes in, and we both like biking. So the discussion was not around medical, but I was telling him we should arrange a bike ride for raising money for these patients. So he asked me a very fundamental question. He said, how long do you think you can keep doing bike rides to raise money for patients? He says, why don't you yourself invent something? So I asked him, I said, what are we talking about? I said, I know the technique of it, I know the mechanism of it, but who's going to build it for me? I need a expert in all these silicon physics and materials and all that. He says, I'm the expert. He says, I know all of this. So the good part about biking, sometimes we don't want to know too much about each other, So that started the journey, and we thought it was a casual conversation. He said, I think we can disrupt this whole thing, and let's just aim at doing a prototype at less than 100 rupees. That was how we discussed about the whole thing. $1 से कम में उसको करेंगे. So it took us a couple of months to keep, what I would say is pondering over it when we would catch up for coffee, to taking baby steps. And then after that came a certain point of confidence when we thought, yes, it's time to accelerate it, because we were seeing it happen. Every step there was something that told us that can't be done. Every time somebody God sent would be telling me, saying, oh, you know what, this is not meant for you, this is not possible, this is not feasible. So we had various funny characters who came across to tell us
why it can't be done or should be done.
Why it cannot or should not be done. And it's not possible, and it would be a waste of time. And anyway, we pursued it with a lot of due consideration, giving some ear to their opinions. And then I think these hurdles made us think and refine the product better, because every time they would come, they would pertinently, when people would tell me this, we would wonder why would they say this, and we would study the ecosystem rather than just rubbish somewhere. So that finally led to this product, and today it's a US patent granted, third innovation in the world, and the only innovation by a surgeon for the world. I feel happy because today I have more than 2,000 odd patients who are speaking with it, some who have not spoken for 10 years, 14 years. It's been a difficult journey in innovations, but I realized that in the entire aspect of this entire journey, I have been able to gift voices. It's a small 1 centimeter device. I'll be able to show that sample to you. It just fits into your throat and converts your food pipe into a voice box.
And it doesn't need those 6 monthly interventions.
So we've now been able to show that this replacement requires about yearly. So we've been able to extend its life.
Better than, yeah,
and we've been able to, with the partnership and support from Government of India and the state governments, make it more affordable under Ayushman Bharat scheme, make it freely available, and we've created an ecosystem. What's the most important learning for us from this entire innovation was, we realized that a problem doesn't come with as a single problem. It comes as a cluster. So as we started going deeper, we realized the depth of the problem was that it needed another ecosystem of innovations around it. So we actually worked with the Ministry of Social Justice to ensure that this is included under the Handicaps Act, because now I wanted to give not only its voice, but I also wanted to give the patients their job back. So that's how has this journey been. And I think in this entire journey, the entire philosophy has been that speech is a right and not a privilege. So every person due in this world who deserves to speak should be able to speak.
Very true. Very, very, very powerful statement in that. So, as a doctor, looking at tell about the journey itself, being from being a doctor to an innovator and an entrepreneur. Talk about that. How was that the mindset shift? I'm bringing this question because a lot of doctors out there, I'm sure they are facing every day similar challenges. And you made a very interesting point on the stage when you said, take that one patient and work around his problem or her problem, and then eventually it lead to other things. So just if you can touch that point and also talk about how is that journey been as a doctor.
I'll rephrase that presentation slide and I'll repeat it. A first year medical student, when I was giving a talk, asked me this question on how do I get a brilliant idea. And I told him, I said, look, hold on to one patient's problem through your life and you'll be flooded with ideas. Don't go and search for problems where the markets are. I often get people coming and telling me, look, there's an AI area and its potential is 3 billion. Let's do something in AI. I tell him, you're going the wrong path. If you have a soul to a problem, you can take it to the masses and masses can become markets. And that is the way the innovation pipeline should be, rather than the reverse way. So if you ask me in my journey of entrepreneurial work, a couple of months back, WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, put me as the personality of the month for some of the contributions I've done in innovations, and they conducted an interview, something similar to what you're doing now. And the lady, Catherine, asked me, she said, Vishal, how has your entrepreneurial journey been? And I'm going to repeat the answer. I said, as complex as the word entrepreneur, so is the journey. I still can't pronounce that and spell it right. So it's a difficult journey for every entrepreneur. And that's the beauty of it. Innovation is not about ease. Innovation is about navigation. Innovation is about, I would say, a series of innovations, a cascade of innovations that you'll have to do. And for me, every aspect of this journey has been to look at how do you cross the brick walls that have been made for you. And I think all you need to remember is those brick walls are made for you to just so that you get stronger. So every time that you come across a brick wall, just remember it's been made for you so that you get built stronger and you get better. So every time what we've been able to do over the years, many people said we'll perish within 2 years. It's been close to 9 years, 10 years. We are slowly scaling it up. But I think the most beautiful thing of this, in this what happened was with the support of Government of India, BIRAC, initially, they gave me a very beautiful idea to say that with such a beautiful innovation, don't leave it at one innovation, create an ecosystem. So I'm an advocate of Make in India version 2.0, which is Create in India. I believe that the second version of Make in India will be Create in India. Every single component will be from India. And that is when we will reach the zenith of our competition at the global scale. That is when we will change the game for the global conversation. And that is what I want to see in my lifetime, and I want to be that change. So if you look at my innovations around it, I believe in creating it here. I do not believe in importing from China and assembling in India.
That's commendable. Yeah, that's
so today we have a full factory with silicon, with extruders, with the plastic moldings, tool room machines, LSD injection moldings. I've kind of partly become an engineer understanding all of these nuances, but it's been a very important learning journey.
There will be doctors out there, medical professionals like you, who are probably seeing the same thing and probably thinking, if somebody could build a product around it. And, it's a difficult journey. Are you open to collaborating with them, that their ideas can be, work with you, and they come as domain expert from their own domains as medical fraternity of money?
So when I've been doing this over the last many years, and one of the things that I created as an initiative and a platform is Maker's Nest.
For medical professionals?
For medical and overall innovations, where we say that if you look at the innovation ecosystem, it should be like a Formula 1. And TRL 0 to 6, which is research and development, and later deployment, 6 to 9 is deployment. Research and development should be like a Formula 1 pit stop. That's the only way the younger generation will be ignited to innovate. So I've created an ecosystem of this kind of a platform wherein people can actually connect beyond this to help improve their ideas, take it from idea to POC, before creating an entity, create an idea, a clear question, and then help create an entity. So we've created the Maker's Nest initiative where we do makeathons like hackathons. We create initiatives on various things, and we've also included a very interesting theme. So what we help them with is, I believe the era of incubator is gone, and that's what I believe in. You don't need a table and chair for an innovator.
Yes.
What you need is 5 things. You need intellectual property, you need regulatory guidance, you need market access, market intelligence, and you need funding. Give him these 5 and he doesn't need a table and chair. He'll be roaming around. So now we said we'll be able to guide these people into these areas and handhold them into the path of innovation. So with Maker's Nest program, what we created out of this was an ecosystem where we've also added a module called boundaryless thinking with one of our partners, wherein if you come up to me with an idea, like a vaccine company came up to me with an idea which they wanted me to mentor them with and guide them. So I make them pass through this session of boundaryless thinking, where I study from politics, sports, entertainment, art, mafia, and anything else, non-domain. And I came back to them and I said that there's a battery company in Israel that was functioning similar to the vaccine company's model. So that's the kind of disruption that we require today in cross-domain areas. What I see in this ecosystem today is, yes, with innovators, that we need to cross-collaborate across domains. And I think that is going to expand the scope of the ability to innovate, disrupt, and actually evolve new ideas.
Interesting. You also made a point, where you said ideas come to you. You don't own the idea. It's not your idea. Could you elaborate on that?
So this is an interesting meeting when I had with His Holiness at McLeodganj. There was a very beautiful, thought-provoking point that he had said, that an idea comes to you, not from you. Now, I thought this was very deep, because I always feel that I'm the owner of the idea.
All of us kind of think, all those entrepreneurs.
Yeah, but it was a very deep, powerful thought that an idea comes from you. It comes to you, not from you. So I'm not the owner of the idea. An idea is reaching hundreds of us at the same time. How many times, Sunil, have you woken up with that brilliant idea and Googled it up just to realize that you've just missed a Nobel Prize? So I've gone through this multiple times. Okay. And I keep thinking to myself, how have so many people already done it? I thought this is the most unique, brilliant idea that has just come across my life. And I wake up with the Eureka moment, Google it, and I just go depressed with a cup of coffee sitting and thinking, I think 200 have already completed this. So I think that's the whole theme of an idea comes to you and not from you.
Interesting. Now let me switch the gear and ask you, what bike do you ride? And so because doctor, biking, and what and just share a little bit about the biking side of the world.
So my dad loved biking, so he taught us biking at a very early age, and I have a Hayabusa now, a Suzuki Hayabusa. I believe that bikes are a form of meditation. So as a bike, it's a meditative state when you are with your machine. So biking has been a great passion for me and a great relaxation also. So I have had this very close camaraderie with these machines. They are like a part of my family and life.
Well, hope to see someday ride with you. I also go out. So
wonderful.
So thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll just take one more question from you. MyStartuptv is a channel dedicated, or media house dedicated to startups and entrepreneurs. We cover everything around startups. What do you think about us? What we are doing?
When I first saw you all and your crew, and I was actually observing your shirts. I love the designs and the logos. I was quite flabbergasted. The first thing that comes to your mind is, are they crazy? How can this be happening? That's the first spontaneous thought that comes. Like somebody people told me, saying it's not possible. I think it's disruptive. I just simply think it's disruptive. And I think, this is what this ecosystem needs. You've given the world something that somebody conventionally cannot imagine. It's very beautiful. And I think that itself shows the disruption you've created in a small ecosystem. By creating something that is very much needed as a platform where people can actually voice out their ideas. And the next 10 years is for Create in India. And you could be the biggest contributor to this country's innovation system, because I think the biggest issue with us is there is so much great work done in this country, but people do not know about it. So playing this role of creating a platform for inventors, innovators, I keep saying this. Why hasn't India got a Nobel Prize in Science for so long? What does it take for us to improve the scientific temperament of a common man? And I think this is the kind of platforms that would make that small shift in your scientific temperament and inspire people to maybe contribute much larger to the country. So kudos to the entire team. I must tell you, under your leadership, this is a much needed initiative. I'm personally sold, very impressed, and I genuinely feel any support I can be of. I'm one of your brand ambassadors now.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That reminds me. Can you talk something about the Mangalore ecosystem, emerging ecosystem? If you can do in Tulu, we'll give it to them.
Yes.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Sort of a message saying, take away from...
as a Mangalorean, I was often told, whenever people say, you're a Mangalorean, they say, this coastal belt people, what do? They keep trying to push the borders all the time, So I was telling them, this coastal belt, this Mangalore belt, has something very interesting in it. We cover from the Miss World to the underworld, they've covered everything, very strangely. So I don't know, there's something about Mangalore. It seems to be a planet in itself, I feel. It's very unique. I don't know. I come from Mangalorean genes, so...
There's a Western Ghat which is kind of creating
But I'm going to be living and dying a Mangalorean in my heart. So if we can have this conversation in Tulu, it will be more respectful for Mangalore.
Yes, definitely. So my Tulu is not that all that good, but I will still try to make an attempt at with all due apologies and respect to people from my own land.
No.
So now I have to think. Conversation was fine. The message korle because I will do it half.
Yeah, no problem.
In a message that on the Mangalore ecosystem, the emerging ecosystem about startups.
Startups patirno dumbu. Yanna entire ecosystem odu kaltiniya vishayanjina lot of the times innovation, disruption, jugad engulega college engul kaltuda. Now I feel when I look back into school and college, I studied at St. Aloysius College and school. ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಒಂಜಿ ವಿಷಯ ಪುಣಂಜಿನ ಎಂಕ್ಲು ಏಪಲೇನು ಕುಡ್ಲದ ವಿಷಯ ಪಾತಿರ್ನಾಗ ಕುಡ್ಲದಕುಲು ಗ್ಲೋಬ್ ವಾ ಕಾರ್ನರ್ ಇಟ್ಲ ಮುಟ್ಟುದೇರಿತು ಯಾನ್ ತಮಾಷೆಗೆ ಏಪಲ ಅನ್ಪು ನಕುಲು ಮಿಸ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾತ ಕವರ್ ಮಲ್ಪಿ
ಸತ್ಯನೇ.
ಸೊ ಈ ಇಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ the Kudlites have a very specific blend of courage, of some amount of out of the box thinking, and some unknown perseverance which comes from that salt water. I don't know what it comes from. So it's very interesting that the Kudla gene is very unique, and I can Kudla the Kulna Bakengla Mangalore the planet e bete unduvant ಕೆಲವಸತಿ ಅಪ್ಪ ಎಂಗಳು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಬೇತಿನ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ದಲ್ಕ ತೋಜುವ ಎಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬೇತೆ ಈ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಏನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನೀವು ಮಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ಬಂಡಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಪಾಲಿಶ್ಡ್ ಕನ್ನಡ which is not they have another slang to Kannada in Bangalore, in Mysore. It keeps changing the dialects, but Mangaloreans have a very soft, polished Kannada which many of them feel is very, very different and sometimes funny. So yenta maraya people tell me, which is what my people my friends make fun of me, but that is our Tulu style. And the problem is, suddenly we connect with each other.
Correct.
And our conversation goes in another direction. So I think I owe a lot of my inventions and my teachings, my philosophies to my teachers, to my mother and my parents, my father, and the ecosystem that Mangalore provided. Mangalore was the place where I actually felt I learned frugality. ಕುಡ್ಲಡ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಇನೋವೇಷನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾಸ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ನಿ, ಕುಡ್ಲಡ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಜುಗಾಡ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ನಿ, ಕುಡ್ಲಡ್ ಎಂಕ್ಲೆಂಚ ಅನ್ಪ ಎಂಕ್ಲವೆನ್ನು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಡ್ ಎಂಕ್ಲು. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಲರ್ನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು, and some of the funny slangs that we keep thinking about today and laughing. ಎಂಕ್ಲು ಎನ್ನಾಗ ಪನ್ಪ ಎಂಕ್ಲು that Kudla has a different flavor of its own. So ಆ ಲೆಕ್ಕಡ್ Kudla ecosystem will have to, and just a couple of days back I was telling that we want to propose a beach fest for innovation in Kudla. Yes. And we'll invite you to be a part of this beach fest, because I think Kudla will have to show some disruption from its own style, and Kudla signature will be seen in those disruptions, and one of them is mine. And today when my machine was taken to Davos, and when I'm taking major pride and claim that I'm a Mangalorean, and this blood has a different salt water that runs here, and I think it's very special to be a part of the Mangalore ecosystem where you've learned, you've bred there, and I think I often keep getting emotional when I talk about Mangalore, because
I can see that, I can feel that.
I think it's a story that can't be completed fully. So it just kind of keeps playing in front of me. But thank you for talking to me about it.
One final question. Mangalore startup ecosystem or business ecosystem develop arapanda youth role encha oppodu.
Sir, enna prakaradu maandakadu, and Mangalore specifically, it is only the youth who can drive this. Enna prakaradu, and this innovation ecosystem has to be disrupted from class 5 onwards or earlier. So enna prakaradu, we'll have to go and penetrate into schools start opening their minds to thinking beyond the conventional borders, educating them on unlearning some of the things and opening up the space, and that can only be done by the youth. We call this reverse mentorship, wherein the younger will teach the seniors, the startup will teach the corporation, the more agile and the mature will be taught by the more younger and the more crass people. This is the kind of ecosystem that we will require to disrupt ecosystems, and we'll have to listen to the youngsters. So Yanna Prakarata, the Kudla's youth power has to be harnessed into 1,000 manifold to bring out more innovative things. The power of education that we have and academia we have in Mangalore is unimaginable.
World famous.
So it just cannot be only an education hub. It has to become an innovation hub. It has to become an R&D hub. It has to be a place from where Nobel laureates will come from. And that is what I hope for Mangalore.
So let's collaborate and let's do something towards that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Stay informed about the startup ecosystem. Subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are here at the India Startup Festival, which is a day 2, and I have got 2 founders with me, Sarath, who's with Flying Duck, and also Satish, who's the co-founder of Flying Duck. Let's understand, very unique name, Flying Duck. Sarath, what's Flying Duck all about?
Flying Duck is a cybersecurity startup. We focus on supply chain security and secure delivery of the software. So we come at a very early stage of application development pipeline and gets integrated into multiple DevOps tools, and then provide continuous real-time security right from the early stage, continuously at each and every stage of the pipeline. So until the deployment in the cloud.
So Satish, as a company, your focus there is supply chain, right? So do they have to be big companies like the Amazon of the world, or they can be any startup? And how affordable would that be?
It's not necessarily a big company. So even we have a lot of SMBs who are startup companies in medium business segments who are actually adopting the DevOps strategies now. So where the deployments can be automated up to the production environments. So whoever are in this journey can start actually leveraging the supply chain security practices. So all SMBs actually can adapt this, cyber security product.
Sir, why is it important? Your service, why should they actually, in the first place, take your service? Could you talk about that?
Yeah. So typically what happens is security is an afterthought for many software companies or any product development companies as well. So developers build everything and then they do the security review. But because when we identify issues and towards the end, they have to go back. The developers have to go back, fix those things, and then continue the process. So because of that, they're spending a lot of time, wasting a lot of time, putting a lot of effort, and ultimately organizations are losing money because of that, right? So that's the reason it's important to start early, detect early, so that by the time the application is deployed, pretty much it has to be secure. That's the ideal way.
So Satish, you guys have made to the top 10 list of companies on startups here. What are your thoughts?
It was really excited, and this is the first time we are attending ISF here in 2023, and we came with just an excitement. We just wanted to be part of the ISF event, but we were really surprised when the Flying Duck was announced in the top 10 list, and we were really excited, and we are really thankful to the ISF team.
So, Sarthi, what's your take on the event itself, the way it's been organized?
Yeah, I think the event is great. It's good to see a lot of fellow startups, entrepreneurs, and especially with a lot of VCs coming here. which is sometimes not easily accessible, right? So I think it's a great event from that perspective. The location is good, the food was good, and yeah, it's good to be part of the entire event.
What do you think about MyStartuptv? We are a channel for startups.
I think it's a great initiative because giving that option, like, for startups, just to talk about themselves, portraying what they are doing, and meeting the communities, fellow founders. I think it's very important for anybody who is actually in the growth plan, and you guys are doing a fantastic job in that. Thank you so much for taking this initiative.
Sir, what do you have to say?
Yeah, it's a very unique idea actually. I knew Startup TV for a while. I've been following your channel, and I thought when I first saw that, it's a very unique idea that you're trying to bring startups to talk about us. Most of the time, we spend our time in silos, right? Because we are building things, and so it's a great opportunity to showcase ourselves. And thank you for doing this.
And thank you for watching us and following us. Thank you very much.
Informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are here at the India Startup Festival 2023. Today I have a special guest with me, Dr. Hari Krishna, who is the former chairman of Global Network. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shetty. Wonderful to be part of your show. In fact, last year I still remember we had a great kind of interactions, sharing our ideas and some of our initiatives, what exactly we're doing. So this time for the India Startup Festival 2023 at Muddanahalli Satyasai Center, it is always a pleasure to be here. And this time I'm coming as a speaker to talk on a couple of initiatives on the technology and education side. So I run a multiple ventures. One of the thing is the Global Economic Forum. So the Global Economic Forum is something like most of you people might have heard of World Economic Forum, which happens in Davos in Switzerland, where all the premiers like prime ministers and presidents and CEOs and CIOs and chairmen of a lot of top multinational companies, they come once in a year to discuss about the economy and the latest things, what exactly happening across the world. So I attended a couple of these global economic forums in Davos. I was working in Novartis as well as after Novartis also, as a speaker, as a delegate. So what I observed in Global Economic Forum, different from World Economic Forum, is we want to focus more on India-specific things than talking about the global thing. And this year, the Global Economic Forum, we taken an initiative to join hands with the G20 and started multiple initiatives. Like the first initiative is we started like the India taken a presidency of G20 in Bali on November 16th, 2022 by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. So from that we started our journey of having the Global Economic Forum G20 Initiative Summit in Bali. So after that we moved to Japan, we moved to Sri Lanka. Now we are having one of the largest summit which is happening in the London Parliament in United Kingdom. The dates are 14th to 18th November. So this is how we are connecting a lot of industry leaders from all the G20 countries, because the G20 is mainly focusing India specific. So the G20 is organizing a lot of conferences in 200 cities in India, focusing on multiple sectors like maybe innovation, tourism, digital technology, education, healthcare, sustainability. All these things are happening. I was also part of a couple of the G20 summits in the last couple of months. So now the next crucial stage is we are going to have one of the biggest the G20 summit, which is happening in Delhi, where all the G20 premiers, the presidents and prime ministers are coming to India first time. And the dates are already announced from September 9th to 11th. So to support this initiative of India journey, we thought we should do something from Global Economic Forum. That's how we are taking all the business leaders from India, connecting with the G20 countries and having a series of summits. So after London, we are going to have one more in Egypt, in Cairo. Then after that, we are going to have one more summit in Istanbul, in Turkey. Then the last summit of the Global Economic Forum, G20 Initiative Summit, which is again largest, is going to be in India. So then after that, the last one is in the USA. So the USA is 25th to 30th November. And today I had a fortune to launch this poster of invitation and invite Sadhguru Sri Madhusudara Sai, as well as the Chancellor of the University, Sri Narasimha Murthy, very well-known educationist, for this summit, along with a couple of the industry leaders who are a part of this summit. So it is always a pleasure to connect the business leaders with other countries where there are tremendous opportunities for the business people, mainly into the collaborations, mainly into the research, mainly into the funding and multiple ways. So this is how Global Economic Forum is supporting all the industries to come to a platform. So we thought the India Startup Festival is again one more platform to connect all these people and to interact and to make a friendship and to invite people, like-minded people, for these kind of summits.
So, the presence, tell us something about the presence of Global Economic Forum within India. Where all do you have offices, or where do you operate from?
Yeah. So our main office, which is in Bangalore, then we have offices in Bombay, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, then Calcutta. These are the offices right now we have. But we have a presence across, I can say, in 39 countries. We have like a president and secretary, where the elected presidents, those are people who are belong to that particular country, and they are supporting this our initiative. So this is a continuous process. After G20, again, we will be having on multiple areas of interest, a series of meetings in different countries.
If companies or organizations, businesses want to be part of your organization, what are the criteria and what is the process?
Yeah. So we are from Global Economic Forum. What we are doing is we are giving a life membership. This is not a paid membership. This is given to the selected people depending on certain criteria. Like all other organizations, there are so many organizations. They collect money and they give a membership. So, but here, what we are doing is all the summits, whatever we do, in the summit, whoever comes as a delegate, as a speaker, all these people will get a life membership. And we also send an invitation to become a life member. So, where we give a life membership card to all these people to become a part of the global economy.
As business houses, what is the benefits that they get by becoming part of the forum?
Yeah. So one is every year we publish the hard copy as well as soft copy of a directory, where all the the member details, the contact details like a mail ID and contact details will be there, so people can able to connect all these people. And also we will give a short brief on each member about their company, about their profile, where people can able to browse and collect the information. Apart from that, every month we are trying to get a newsletter on mainly on business and economy, where people can read and get benefits, insights about the thing, and everyone will get kind of invitations on all our events. So that is how it happens.
So as ISF 23. As India Startup Festival 2023 is focused on rural.
Yes.
How is your forum working towards contributing towards rural economy and rural entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So, in fact, to talk about rural economy, this is what today also in the discussion it is coming quite frequently. Even Sadhguru Sai was telling about how we can build an organization from rural development. So, in fact, last time when I was here, I was talking on one of the projects which we launched as Go Valley. It is an Goshala, which we started in Dharmasthala. So, this going in a different shape now. We are able to connect with a lot of farmers, a lot of agriculture people, and trying to develop, apart from just milk and butter, ghee, and all this, we are trying to produce a lot of products using the ecosystem. From gobar gas to using cow dung, a kind of lamps and agarbatti, tube sticks, and a lot of medicinal products. So these all products we are trying to sell through using e-commerce platforms. And also our idea is to connect with all the farmers across India to replicate this idea of this Goshala and adoption of a cow in different places, and involving the local farmers and local agriculture people. So that's how I think definitely the future is agriculture. Today we see the prices of tomato, how it is going every day than the share market. So I think in future, all these products, today in US, there is a lot of scarcity of getting rice. People are on queue to buy rice in Patel Brothers stores. Not only in US, in UK, in Singapore, wherever the Indian community is there. So every product, because if farming will not be in focus, then we will have a tough time in coming years. The prices escalation. The same way the prices of income of public will not go up. But the prices of products and commodity will definitely go up in coming years if we don't focus on agriculture. So as in India, we have a 1.45 billion people, which is one of the largest populations in the world. We have a great scope. We have a huge land bank. We have a great water resources. So we have to utilize this optimum. So if everybody wants to do join engineering and computer science and want to work in a lot of IT companies, then what will happen to all other specializations? What will happen to the ecosystem of our India? So we have to be in every field. I think this is a time where I request all the stakeholders of Indian Startup Festival to more focus on rural investments. People who are coming with the new ideas of agriculture, coming with a new product technology, farmers. These kind of ideas can be funded heavily. So definitely a lot of people will come forward and think innovatively, come forward and start this kind of companies. So I think definitely, I recollect 50, 60 years back how the agriculture revolution happening in India. I still remember, reading a couple of wonderful articles. During 1700, India is number one. That time we don't have IT. We don't have all these blockchain technologies, data science and augmented realities. We have only agriculture. And all the countries across the world used to come to India and buy our agriculture products. So I think still we have a scope, and definitely we will come back to that stage to become India as a number one. So now last year we celebrated the 75 years of independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and we are talking about the 100 years of independence, that is Amrit Kal. So definitely Amrit Kal is at a time where India will become the number one economy in the world with the 1.45 billion people, the Indian people. And the greatest advantage what I can see in India, unlike any economy, any country, is we have a demographic dividend. That means 60% of our Indian population is a youth below 35. That advantage is not there with any country in this world. So if this we can use in an optimum way, I think definitely India is a great country, and every people in the world will apply for a citizenship here.
So those are very valid points to make. Finally, MyStartuptv is a channel for entrepreneurs and startups. Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think I had a great interactions with you the last India Startup Festival 2022. I think you are doing a great work supporting the entire startup community, coming forward and focusing on each startup and projecting them in a right way. So I think only very few in this country have that kind of a mindset to support this ecosystem. I think My Startup TV is definitely doing a great, wonderful work in this direction. I wish great success for your idea and your innovation. Surely, I think all startups will take advantage from My Startup TV ideas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.
Startup Festival is mainly to focus on improving the rural economies through rural entrepreneurship. While Bangalore and other cities which are startup hubs of the country, they will progress because they have enough opportunity and other technology and availability of resources. But rural India is left behind. However, most of the youngsters are in rural India and they need to be encouraged. And they are very intelligent, they are very smart, they have ideas, but they need a little bit of mentoring, financing, hand-holding, which is the main idea of India Startup Festival, how to encourage such young rural entrepreneurs also to come up, and that is how we can realize the Gram Swaraj vision of Mahatma Gandhi, which wasn't possible that time, but it is possible now with the availability of technology, transportation, communication, and a lot of good mentors like Jay Chaudhary ji and several others who are a part of this India Startup Festival. They are hand-holding the young entrepreneurs from the rural villages, and that is the way to a progressive country, and as we are talking about a developed nation. That's possible only when rural India develops. The rural India requires rural entrepreneurship, and that is the focus of India Startup Festival. Thank you.
A warm welcome to Indian Startup Festival 2023 happening in Mudenhalli, blessed, divine blessing by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudana Sai. I am Nagajyoti Osingi. I am a senior engineering manager in West Fargo. I am here as a volunteer from ISF. And I have my co-host with me, Rashmi Kumar.
A very good morning, everyone. Can we get some energy? I'm sure it's been a long wait. That's what every entrepreneur goes through also, and that is what we want to break here. So let's start the day with great energy and then get going. Are you all ready? You will be witnessing a lot of learning, lot of experience, and lot of new ideas. So welcome to the Startup Festival, India Startup Festival 2023, and a very warm welcome from the organizing team, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you. My name is Rashmi. I am the CEO of Decode Consulting Services and also a Chief Strategy Officer of Technogen Inc.
Thank you, Rashmi. Let's look at high-level agenda for today. We have a packed agenda, so let's make sure that we get most out of it. We are going to start keynote sessions. We have experienced speakers here on the dais. while this is happening in Premamrutam, please note that we are also having startup pitches, a competition which is going in another building, Krupa Shreyas. So just to give a context, we had around 10,000 startups which enrolled for this startup pitch competition. Out of 10,000, there is a lot of hard work which went in from ISF team. Today we have 100 top startups which are again competing. We will know winners later part of the day. So these are the two events which are going in parallel.
I'm sure all of you here, we have distinguished guests, we have startup entrepreneurs, we have serial entrepreneurs, we have successful entrepreneurs, we have investors, we have HNIs, and we have some wannabe entrepreneurs also. And all of these sessions that we have put together has been kept in mind for that you are here and we want you to take utmost advantage of it. Post the keynote session, post lunch, is the area or is the time when you get to see all the different investors who have come across from all over the world for India Startup Festival 2023.
While these things are going on, please don't miss one session that we have, which is called as Master Class for CXO by Ramcharan Garu. It is going to happen in the same building. So please don't miss that session.
And once you have done all the learning, then what do we have, Jyoti?
Wow. We still have a fireside chat from Sadhguru Garu. Make sure that you are available in the hall. So let's listen from Sadhguru, and then we also have award ceremony for all startup winners. But I think what Rashmi is mentioning is beyond that. Rashmi, I think it is high time that you share that information.
Once you do all the learning, and definitely we have the startups who have won the session or won for the contest today, we really want to celebrate. And who do we have for that? We have Sai Symphony Orchestra that's going to perform for us, and trust me, I was part of the rehearsals and they are amazing. That's going to be our highlight for the day today as well. So be ready, tighten up your seatbelts and get set, go. Are you in for this?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, let me take this opportunity to introduce the brain behind India Startup Festival. He was Special Chief Secretary to the Andhra Pradesh government, head of several global industry forums like FICCI, AmCham, TIE, HICIA. He was the chairman of STPI for Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore, founder and India Managing Director for global technology companies. He co-founded TalentSprint, a leading edtech company in India. He also co-founded Portal Player, which was acquired by NVIDIA Corporation, a company that designed the core chip and software that powered iPods for Apple. Currently, he is the chairman of blockchain community at Bureau of Indian Standards. He is also the co-founder of India Startup Festival 2023, an entrepreneur, an innovator, an angel investor, and the industry leader. Please put your hands together to invite Mr. J. Chaudhary Garu to set the context for ISF. And I would also like to proudly say that he is the man behind most of us being part of this forum, including me. Thank you, J. Garu.
Good morning to all of you. I really want to thank both Vineet Roy and Prashant Prakash. They are all very busy venture capitalists. In fact, many startup companies, particularly early stage startup companies, they told me, sir, we want to meet Vineet or Prashant Prakash. It's very difficult for them to meet. Today they are available here. In fact, I was telling Prashant just inside when we met Swamiji, that a lot of startups wants to meet you, that we will have a MOU with India Startup Festival. Whichever startup that I'll bring to you, please give us some time. In principle is agreed. Same request I have with Vineet Roy also. So that's what India Startup Festival is all about. See, we normally for a small startup company with a limited money, you will be able to bring the product and he doesn't know how to really take it to the next level. He doesn't know how to convince the venture capitalists to put money in their companies. So many of them, they keep going around with limited money. Ultimately, they will all get into the so-called startup death valley. So that's where I request both the pillars of the India's startup ecosystem, the very successful venture capitalists, they are all going to tell about the success stories, how they are able to help the startup ecosystem in the country, and going forward, how they are going to help the India Startup Festival startup companies through their startup ecosystem. With this, I really want to thank all the great leaders who have come, investors, angel investors, venture capitalists, and HNIs, and market leaders, the big MNC India heads, they're all here, including I see some former bureaucrats, the Director General of Telangana State, Mahendra Reddy is also here. So many such stalwarts are here, and this is the great opportunity for all the startup companies to meet with them and explore the possibilities of, because every individual who have reached that level, they have their own network. So connecting the dots is very, very important. For a small startup company, they will not have that network. So go and meet with them and exchange your business idea so that you will be able to get connected to that ecosystem. That is the success formula. So with this, I really want to thank all of you for gracing the India Startup Festival 23. Thank you.
With that, let's start our keynote sessions. Let me invite Murali Ulaganti Garu, founder and chairman, People Show. People Shore is a public benefit corporation with a mission to empower underemployed young adults in underserved communities. People Shore is operating currently from 4 outsourcing centers within US. Before it, he is also a founder and director of Rural Shores. Rural Shores is again, it focuses on how to get technology-enabled jobs for rural youth. So that's another organization that he has successfully run. His work is much appreciated. He received several awards, including prestigious Edison Award for Innovation. In ISF event, one of our core theme for this session is we want to look at rural development. I felt like this is the best way, what is the better way to invite Murali, because he is coming from that focus of rural development. With that, I request Murali Garu to come onto the dais. I request technology team to please showcase the presentation.
Good morning. Or rather, I don't know. Yeah, good morning still. So, what is a good way to start? By showcasing, as you know, as we embark on this 3-day event, Startup Festival,